Hello everyone, it's Debra Kasowski here and welcome to this video. Today we are talking about how you are not your thoughts. Stay tuned. Have you ever thought a thought and dwelled on it, fixated on it, only to jump to conclusions and make assumptions to learn that you were wrong? Well, I hope I'm not the only one. There are many ways that our thoughts can divert us and take us on these wild goose chases that we don't expect. But thoughts are only thoughts. That's something that we need to recognize, that we can choose one thought or another. We have 50 to 70,000 thoughts in a day, majority of them being negative, and you're thinking to yourself, I don't even know that there's that many thoughts going through my head at one time. It's because a lot of them are under the surface subconsciously, and as soon as we bring them to a surface, maybe by a triggered memory or something that we thought about, then suddenly that we have this fixation on a thought, and it can be negative, and it can change the actions of the courses that we were planning to take. Now, I've always been fascinated with thoughts because I know that thoughts impact your feelings about who you are, about the situation, and whether or not you're going to take the actions necessary to get the results and outcomes that you want. Now, if you want to find out why you're not getting the results, think about what's influencing the thoughts that you have to begin with. Now, Dr. Daniel Amen has a book called Change Your Brain, Change Your Life. And when he talks about the automatic negative thoughts, which he refers to as ants, he says that what happens is when we have this belief that thought is truth, then we can steer away from our healthy eating plans. We don't have the desire to exercise. We destroy our self-esteem and we just feel plain awful. Well, if that's the case, I don't know about you, but I don't want that. So I'd rather learn more about my thoughts and take control over what I have power to take control over. So you are not your thoughts. So let's talk about three different types of thinking that could be steering you off track and away from your goals. Number one is the all or nothing thinking, often referred to as the black and white thinking. And it might be that, you have good intentions, but because something didn't work out for you, suddenly it's never going to work out for you. It's either is or it isn't. And that's all you're thinking. Now that black and white thinking can lead you to feeling trapped from taking actions to get out of that funk. So let's say you're looking for a job and you're applying hundreds of resumes. You might get a handful of interviews and suddenly you get a rejection letter that says, hey, we've hired someone else. Unfortunately, that you were not the selection. Then all of a sudden you're like, I'm never going to get a job. That despair, that desperation. And then how do you feel about yourself? What are the chances you're going to take new action? Now, unless you're a go-getter type that says, you know what? I can do this. I'm going to keep going. It's just not yet. So you can move past that if you can switch. You can move past that if you can switch into a different way of thinking. Now, the other one might be that you do a presentation in the boardroom or, at this big town hall, and you don't feel that you did a really good job. You might have fumbled over your words. You might have forgotten an important point. And now you tell yourself you're a terrible presenter. Well, is that true? Chances are not likely. Everyone can screw up once in a while. And what you need to really think about is that what lesson can I take from this that can lead me to being more prepared, better practiced, not rushing myself. Maybe you showed up 5 minutes before the meeting and technology wasn't working and all these things were going wrong. I would be fumbling as well, so give yourself some grace. Know that you're not a terrible presenter. You need to take control over what you have control over. So that all or nothing can be really into this guiltiness that you're feeling, and you're shaming yourself. And when you're in that spot, you're not going to change those results. Years ago, I was running errands and I had my gym clothes and I had work clothes and I was ready to go into the gym, and I sat there looking at the time, got my errands done, but then I realized I had only enough time for a shower. Now, in that moment, I started beating myself up. Come on, Deb, you know better. You need to get ready. And then the more I thought about it is, if I sit in this car talking to myself, I'm going to lose my 10 minutes. So I went in, took my shower, and reminded myself, tomorrow, I will make sure that I have more time in the gym greater than 10 minutes. And it never happened again. But because I was able to give myself grace, I was able to shift out of that circumstance and move forward. And so can you. Which leads me to the should've, could've, would've. Quit shoulding on yourself. The must do, I have to type of thinking. So when you should do something or you feel forced to do something, you're not likely to do it. You're likely to push back and say, whoa, that's enough here. And then you're not going to have that. Maybe there was good intention behind it. You know, in life we have shoulds and we have should nots. And, you know, there are things that are good about it. Like when someone says they have to do something, it's this resignation, this resentment. And it seems like they're not taking action to move forward. And that I must have this, I must do this. It's that forceful pressure, right? So what we want to get you to do is really shift to from I should do this to making it more of a I should and I choose to blank whatever that positive choice is. So let's say you are, attempting to lose some weight. And you're telling yourself that, you know what, I want to go out, I want to eat this, and I want to eat that, I want to have a dessert. Well, there's a calorie balance if that's what you're looking at. Like, I'm not here to give you the nutritional advice, but I'm giving you an example of you have choices. Do you need to load up on dinner and get the creamiest, sauciest thing and then dessert as well? Or maybe you'll choose a salad so you can have dessert. So, everything comes in moderation, being able to weigh out what's possible, because I don't believe that you have to do all or nothing thinking all of the time when you're, following a certain regime. So I really want you to pay attention to what you're telling yourself. So make those shoulds be something positive to support and encourage you to move action. Now, there'll be people say, I have to go to work. I have to get up in the morning. Well, there's people who don't get up in the morning who would like to. And there's people who are looking for a job who would like to. So instead of seeing it as a begrudgingly thing, is that you get to notice the change from despair to, yes, I got this. And the musts, same thing as the shoulds. What you must do, is it for the intention or the outcome that you want? Because there are sacrifices along the way. But when you come from a place of resentment, despair, your feeling about yourself is not going to align with the actions you need for your results. So really be intentional with your thinking and your actions and how you feel about your pride and joy of what you're doing. Now, the other one is the never or always thinking. You've heard people say, you never do that. And it usually comes with a little bit of a finger wagging, right? So it's, or a finger pointing, I should say as well. But you never do this. You always do this. Every time this happens, everyone's doing this, or everybody's doing this. Are they really? Chances are your everybody is on your 5 fingers of your hand. You can count them on one hand, maybe 2 at the most. But your everybody is this circle of people you admire, look up to, have esteem for, or you feel judged by. So all of a sudden that everybody is really a small circle of people. So be careful with this type of negative thinking, because not everyone is thinking that way. Not everyone is, that it's never, not in this moment. It's not always, it's not in this moment, right? So really pay attention to eliminating those words from your life because they are not serving you. The other thing that I want to do is make sure that you have tools to move forward. So it is about reframing that thinking. When you have a negative thought, reframe it into a positive. Know that life circumstances happen and you might feel like you have a setback. But with setbacks, you can also set up for the greatest comeback of your life. So who knows what that could be? But I want you to be looking into the face of possibility versus seeing everything as a problem. Because when you focus on the problem, that's how you're going to feel. And you're not going to take any action because you're focused in a problem focus. All right. So some of the things that you can do is some people say, stop that or cancel that thought. You can also use a mantra. I'm stronger than my fear. I trust myself to figure this out. Do you see how much more you can empower yourself when you challenge your thoughts? And one final word for you. Know that your worth is not attached to your outcomes. If something falls flat or doesn't go well or a mistake happens, it's not about your identity. Okay? It's not about your identity. Your worth as a person does not change. So know this, that no matter what, when you have this negative thinking, you are still of worth. And what I need you to do is be able to see yourself in such a positive light, be encouraging and supportive like you are to others. And you will watch not only you changing your thoughts, but it does change your environment and the world around you and how you feel like you're received by the world. Thank you for joining me here on today's video. Make sure you go over to my website at www.debrakasowski to learn more and get your 10-page PDF of Reset Your Mindset so you can get your head in the game and your goals on paper and get things happening for you. Thank you again.